We're going on a trip on our favorite virtual travel ship, zooming to social media's virtual travelers. Climb aboard and get ready to explore. There's so much to find virtual travelers. We're going on a mission. Start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, virtual travelers. This is your Alpha talking. I am glad you are all look good and well. I found something interesting to study in social media. Do you want to know what about it?
Let's study the origin of HIV/AIDS. The origin of the human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, has been a subject of scientific research and debate since the virus was identified in the 1980s. There is now a wealth of evidence on how, when, and where HIV first began to cause illness in humans.
Did HIV come from monkeys? In 1999, researchers found a strain of SIV simian immunodeficiency virus called SIV-CPZ in a chimpanzee that was almost identical to HIV in humans. The researchers who discovered this connection concluded that it proved chimpanzees were the source of HIV-1 and that the virus had the same point cross-species from chimps to humans. The same scientists then conducted more research into how SIV could have developed in the chimps. They discovered the chimps had hunted and eaten two smaller species of monkeys, the red Cape mangabeys and the great spot-nosed monkeys. These smaller monkeys infected the chimps with the two different strains of SIV. The two different SIV strains then joined together to form a third virus that could be passed on to other chimps. This is a strain that can also infect humans.
Where did AIDS came from? Scientists have traced the origin of HIV back to chimpanzees and simian immune deficiency virus, or what we call SIV, an HIV-like virus that attacks the human system of monkeys and apes. In 1999, researchers identified a strain of chimpanzee SIV called SIV-CPZ, which was nearly identical to HIV. Chimps. The scientists later discovered hand and eat two smaller species of monkeys, red-capped mangabeys and greater spot-nosed monkeys that carry and infect the chimps with two strains of SIV. These two strains likely combine to form SIV-CPZ, which can spread between chimpanzees and humans. SIV-CPZ likely jumped to humans when hunters in Africa ate infected chimps, or the chimps' infected blood got into the cuts or wounds of hunters. Researchers believe that the first transmission of SIV to HIV in humans that then led to the global pandemic occurred in 1920 in Kinshasa.
The virus spread may have spread from Kinshasa along infrastructure routes via migrants and the sex trade. In the 1960s, HIV spread from Africa to Haiti in the Caribbean when Haitian professionals in the colonial Democratic Republic of Congo returned home. The virus then moved from the Caribbean to New York City around 1970 and then to San Francisco later in the decade. International travel from the United States helped the virus spread across the rest of the globe.
How did HIV cross from chimps to humans? The most commonly accepted theory is that of the hunter. In this scenario, SIV-CPZ was transferred to humans as a result of chimps being killed and eaten, or their blood getting into cuts or wounds on people in the course of hunting. Normally, the hunter's body would have fought off SIV, But on a few occasions, the virus adapted itself within its new human host and became HIV-1. There are four main of groups of HIV strains: M, N, O, and P, each with a slightly different genetic makeup. This supports the hunter theory because every time SIV passed from a chimpanzee to a human, it would have developed in a slightly different way within the human body and produce a slightly different strain. This explains why there is more than one strain of HIV-1. The most studied strain of HIV is HIV-1 group M, which is the strain that has spread throughout the world and is responsible for the vast majority of HIV infections today.
How did HIV number 2 get passed to humans? HIV number 2 comes from civism in Sutimangave monkeys rather than chimpanzees. The crossover to humans is believed to have happened in a similar way through the butchering and consumption of monkey meat. It is far rarer and less infectious than HIV number 1. As a result, it infects far fewer people and is mainly found in few countries in West Africa like Mali, Mauritania, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone.
Using the earliest known sample of HIV, scientists have been able to create a family tree ancestry of HIV transmission, allowing them to discover where HIV started. Their studies concluded that the first transmission of SIV to HIV in humans took place around 1920 in Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The same area is known for having the most genetic diversity in HIV strains in the world, reflecting the number of different times SIV was passed to humans. Many of the first cases of AIDS were recorded there too.
The difference of HIV or AIDS. The human immunodeficiency viruses are two species of lentivirus, a subgroup of retrovirus that infect humans. Over time, they cause acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, or AIDS, a condition in which progressive failure of the immune system allows life-threatening opportunistic infections and cancers to thrive. Without treatment, average survival time after infection with HIV is estimated to be 9 to 11 years, depending on the HIV subtype. In most cases, HIV is a sexually transmitted infection and occurs by contact with or transfer of blood, pre ejaculate semen, and vaginal fluids. Research has shown for both same sex and opposite sex couples that HIV is untransmittable through condomless sexual intercourse if the HIV positive partner has a consistently undetectable viral load. Non-sexual transmission can occur from an infected mother to her infant during pregnancy, during childbirth by exposure to her blood or vaginal fluid, and through breast milk. Within these bodily fluids, HIV is present as both free virus particles and virus within infected immune cells.
HIV infects vital cells in the human immune system, such as helper T cells, especially CD4 plus T cells, macrophages, and dendritic cells. HIV infections lead to low level of CD4 plus T cells through a number of mechanisms, including pyroptosis of abortively infected T cells, apoptosis of uninfected bystander cells, direct viral killing of infected cells, and killing of infected CD4 plus T cells by CD8 plus cytotoxic lymphocytes that recognize infected cells. When CD4 plus T cells number decline below a critical level, cell-mediated immunity is lost, and the body becomes progressively more susceptible to opportunistic infections, leading to the development of AIDS.
The symptoms of HIV. There are several symptoms of HIV. Not everyone will have the same symptoms. It depends on the person and what stage of the disease they are in. There are three stages of HIV and some of the symptoms people may experience. Stage 1, acute HIV infection. Within 2 to 4 weeks after infection with HIV, about 2 to 3 of people will have a flu-like illness. This is the body's natural response to HIV infection. Flu-like symptoms can include fever, chills, rash, night sweats, muscle aches, sore throat, fatigue, swollen lymph nodes, and mouth ulcers. These symptoms can last anywhere from a few days to several weeks, but some people do not have any symptoms at all during this early stage of HIV.
Symptoms of AIDS. If you have HIV and you are not on HIV treatment, eventually the virus will weaken your body's immune system and you will progress to AIDS or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This is the last stage of HIV infection. Symptoms of AIDS can include rapid weight loss, recurring fever or profuse night sweats, extreme and unexplained tiredness, prolonged swelling of the lymph glands in the armpits, groin, or neck, diarrhea that lasts for more than a week, sores of the mouth, anus or genitals, pneumonia, red, brown, pink or purplish blotches on or under the skin or inside the mouth, nose, or eyelids, memory loss, depression, and other neurologic disorders. Each of these symptoms can also be related to other illnesses. The only way to know for sure if you have HIV is to get tested. If you are HIV positive, a healthcare provider will diagnose if your HIV has progressed to stage 3 based on a certain medical criteria. Many of the severe symptoms and illnesses of HIV disease come from the opportunistic infections that occur because your body's immune system has been damaged. See your healthcare provider if you are experiencing any of these symptoms.
Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS, is the late stage of HIV infection that occurs when the body's immune system is badly damaged because of the virus. Most people with HIV do not develop AIDS because taking HIV medicine every day as prescribed stops the progression of the disease. What blood cells does the HIV/AIDS attack? The immune system has many kinds of white blood cells to fight infections. HIV finds the white blood cells called CD4 cells. HIV gets inside the CD4 cell and makes copies of itself. Then HIV kills the CD4 cell and the new HIV copies find other CD4 cells to get inside and start the cycle again. A healthy immune system normally has a CD4 count ranging 500 to 1600 per cubic millimeter of blood. CD4 count measures how many CD4 cells we have in our blood. The higher the CD4 cells means the healthier the immunity system. CD4 cells are a type of white blood cell. It is a cell that moves throughout the body to find and destroy bacteria, viruses, and other germs in the body, and they are also the specialized cells of the immune system that are destroyed by HIV.
HIV is a retrovirus. Retrovirus carries single-stranded RNA as its genetic material rather than the double-stranded DNA human cells carry. Retroviruses also have the enzyme reverse transcriptase, which allows it to copy RNA into DNA and use that DNA copy to infect human or host cells. When HIV infects a cell, it first attaches to and fuses with the host cell. Then, the viral RNA is converted into DNA, and the virus uses the host cell's machinery to replicate itself during a process called reverse transcription. The new copies of HIV then leave the host cell and move on to infect other cells. When a person's CD4 cells ranges to 350 per cubic millimeters of blood, they are announced as HIV positive. The number HIV in the blood is called viral loads. If the viral load continued to increase, means HIV isn't treated or uncontrolled. If CD4 cells continue to decrease, means HIV is continuously invading and destroying and making new viral loads that weakens the immune system. Unfortunately, HIV has no cure, and that's the horrible thing of having this disease. But the treatment can slow the progression of the disease. The aim of treatment is to reduce levels of viral loads. So, the CD4 count will increase and your body's ability to fight infections improves. The treatment is called antiretroviral therapy or highly active antiretroviral therapy. It is consist of combination of antiretroviral drugs. This treatment can help to decrease viral load and fight infections. 200 and below CD4 cell have a potential on developing more serious condition. Means with only 200 and below CD4, AIDS is the one that's controlling the cells on the body, and this have a risk of developing serious and potentially life-threatening illnesses.
Is there a cure for HIV and AIDS? There is no cure for HIV yet. However, treatment can control HIV and enable people to live a long and healthy life. This may include attaining an undetectable viral load. If you think you've been at risk of HIV, it's important to get tested. Testing is the only way to know for sure if you have the virus. If you've already tested and your result is positive, you'll be advised to start antiretroviral treatment as soon as possible. Treatment is the only way to manage HIV and prevent it from damaging your immune system. It also reduces the risk of passing HIV on to your sexual partners.
Will there ever be a cure for HIV? A functional cure. A functional cure would suppress the amount of HIV virus in the body to such low levels that it can't be detected, or make you ill but it would still be present. Some people think that antiretroviral treatment is effectively a functional cure, but most define a functional cure as something that suppresses the virus without the need for ongoing antiretroviral treatment. There are few examples of people considered to have been functionally cured, such as the Mississippi baby. But in all these cases, the virus has reemerged. Most of these people receive antiretroviral treatment very quickly after infection or birth.
A sterilizing cure. A sterilizing cure is one where the HIV virus is eradicated from the body completely, including from hidden reservoirs. There is only one known person who's been cured in this way. He is Timothy Brown, also known as the Berlin patient. In 2007 to 2008, Brown had chemotherapy and a bone marrow transplant to treat leukemia. His transplant came from someone with a natural genetic resistance to HIV. He was cured of HIV, but scientists don't fully understand why. Also, because bone marrow transplant can be dangerous, they are not practical as a wider HIV cure. However, this progress has given researchers important information that they are using to work towards a cure.
Antiretroviral therapy can lower the chances of making new copies of retrovirus. But if it takes incorrectly, the HIV will continue to spread throughout the body. This treatment should take properly so it will not lead to more critical state. There are different types of HIV medication. First, nucleoside or nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitors. The second one is non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. The third is protease inhibitors. Fourth, integrase inhibitors. Fifth, fusion inhibitors. Sixth, GP120 attachment inhibitor. Seventh, CCR5 antagonists. Eighth, post-attachment inhibitor or monoclonal antibody. Ninth, pharmacologic enhancers or drug boosters. 10th, fixed dose combinations.
To become infected with HIV, you must have these. First, by having sex. You may become infected if you have vaginal, anal, or oral sex with an infected partner whose blood, semen, or vaginal secretion enters your body. The virus can enter your body through mouth sores or small tears that sometimes develop in the rectum or vagina during sexual activity. Second, by sharing needles. Sharing contaminated IV drug paraphernalia or needles and syringe put you at high risk of HIV and other infectious disease such as hepatitis.
3. From blood transfusions. In some cases, the virus may be transmitted through blood transfusions. 4. During pregnancy or delivery or through breastfeeding. Infected mothers can pass the virus on to their babies. Mothers who are HIV positive and get treatment for the infection during pregnancy can significantly lower the risk to their babies.
How is HIV not transmitted? You can't be infected with HIV/AIDS through ordinary contact like hugging, kissing, shaking hands, or dancing with someone who has the infection. And HIV/AIDS isn't spread through the air, water, or insect bites.
HIV/AIDS possible skin condition. Skin conditions are common in people with HIV/AIDS, many including Kaposi sarcoma, thrush, and herpes, are caused by germs that take advantage of a weakened immune system. That's why they are called opportunistic infection. Other like photodermatitis may be linked to inflammation caused by an overactive immune system as it revives during antiretroviral drug therapy or due to the drugs themselves.
Molluscum contagiosum. This is a highly contagious viral skin infection that may be passed from person to person through skin to skin contact, by sharing linens, or by simply touching the same objects. Molluscum contagiosum causes pink or flesh-colored bumps on the skin. In people with HIV/AIDS, an outbreak of more than 100 bumps can occur. Although the bumps are generally harmless, they won't go away without treatment if you have AIDS.
Herpes viruses. Several types of herpes viruses are common in people with AIDS. Herpes simplex viral infection causes an outbreak of sores around the genital area or the mouth. Herpes zoster viral infection is caused by the same virus that causes chickenpox. It can also result in shingles, an extremely painful blistering rash on one side of the body. Herpes viral infections are often treated with antiviral medications.
Kaposi sarcoma. This is a type of cancer that starts in the cells that line the lymph or blood vessels. Kaposi sarcoma causes dark lesions on the skin, which may appear as brown, purple, or red patches or nodules. Kaposi sarcoma may also cause the skin to swell. The lesions can affect organs too, including the lungs, liver, and parts of the digestive tract. where they can cause potentially life-threatening symptoms and breathing problems. The skin condition typically only occurs when your CD4 lymphocyte, also called T4 cell, count is extremely low, meaning that your immune system is severely weakened. The condition is characteristic of AIDS, and when someone with HIV develops Kaposi sarcoma, the diagnosis changes to AIDS. Highly active antiretroviral drugs have greatly reduced the incidence of Kaposi sarcoma and can help treat it if it develops. This cancer also generally responds to radiation, surgery, and chemotherapy.
Oral hairy leukoplakia. This is a viral infection that affects the mouth. It can cause thick, white lesions on the tongue that looks hairy. It is particularly common in people with AIDS who have an extremely weakened system. Oral hair leukoplakia doesn't require a specific treatment, but effective treatment of HIV/AIDS with antiretroviral medication can improve your immune system and help to clear up the infection. Thrush. Oral candidiasis, also known as thrush, is a fungal infection that causes a thick white layer to form on the tongue or inner cheeks. Thrush can be managed with antifungal medication, mouth lozenges, and mouth rinses. It is quite common in people with AIDS and can be difficult to treat because the infection tends to come back. Taking effective HIV medication usually improves this condition.
Photodermatitis. This is a skin condition in which the skin reacts to exposure to the sun by turning darker in color. It's most common in people of color, but anyone with HIV is susceptible to photodermatitis. If you're taking medications to improve immune strength, you may have this reaction as a side effect. Protecting the skin from the sun is usually the strategy used to reduce photodermatitis.
Prurigo nodularis. The skin condition involves outbreak of itchy crusted lumps on the skin. The itching can be intense and severe. Prurigo nodularis is most common with extremely weakened immune system. Topical steroid treatment and managing HIV with antiretroviral drugs are used to treat the condition. Antiretroviral drugs can help prevent and manage some of these type of skin conditions. Other skin conditions may be triggered by the treatment that require other treatments. Talk with your doctor about the best therapy for your particular skin condition.
World AIDS Day is coming, and it's such a strong reminder of how important it is to practice safe sex, to always come prepared, especially now that the Philippines is expected to face a second wave of HIV cases in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic. We still have much to do. We must work together to decrease suffering and death due to AIDS and stop the spread of HIV infection.
I've learned that HIV/AIDS is a life-threatening disease, and it is an incurable one, and it can spread through different forms, such as blood transfusion. So we should be aware and educate everyone, because this disease has no exemption. Everyone can be infected by this kind of disease.
Children, youths, or should I say everyone is exposed to the risk of being victims of HIV/AIDS. HIV/AIDS victims should be respected and treated fairly. They are still human beings. Having the sickness doesn't necessarily mean they are to be isolated nor stayed away. Having HIV doesn't have to stop you living a healthy life in the way that you choose to do. With the treatment and care, you can expect to live as long as someone who doesn't have HIV.
If someone has disclosed their HIV status to you, please acknowledge, reassure, and thank them for trusting you about their private health information. Reassure them that whatever happens, your relationship with them won't change in any way. And always try to be with them and support them in all the ways that you can.
You know what I've learned from this disease? This disease that is called HIV or AIDS is a life-threatening disease because there are symptoms that can't take your body, so it might cause your death. And it also causes bullying because of some physical symptoms like molluscum contagiosum. The people might judge you because of it. Because the appearance of these symptoms is not good for the eyes of people around you.
What I've learned about HIV/AIDS is the moral lesson that we have to understand about HIV, and we as a person that studying about HIV, we should respect them for those people who had this kind of diseases, and it is a serious kind of situation that they are engaging of that kind of diseases, and we as a person, we should help them and give them a chance, opportunity to keep going in life, and educate them to be responsible for their body, to keep healthy, to keep maintain their body. That's it.
It is helpful for students to have a basic understanding of the human immune system and how it works. Talk to young people about HIV/AIDS because there's so many kids who don't even really know what it is. They don't even know that they are at risk. I just want people to realize that this is people disease and it can happen to anytime and anyone. Prevention is better than cure, especially when something has no cure. Take control, enjoy life, and stop HIV/AIDS.
Life for an individual becomes hell after being tested positive for AIDS. We should stop discriminating, hating, and humiliating, and showing unnecessary disgust to those people who are experiencing or having the disease. It is not only that disease that makes them feel down, but also the social stigma. They might feel the feeling of not being loved and cared of, and it is the poison that might kill them slowly. We need to instill the belief among them, through our love and care, that the HIV-positive patient can still lead a long and healthy life. The only solution to AIDS lies in its prevention and awareness. We must have a regular and periodical health checkups so that we don't fall prey to such deadly diseases. Be responsible and care for your health. We must also encourage and educate others to do the same. With the widespread awareness about the disease, much fewer adults and children are dying of AIDS. And the only way to fight the AIDS disease is through creating awareness.